Sawubona, sawubona. Time for the day, beautiful people. Time for the day. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I got all my stuff together this morning for the most part, y'all. I'm really just ready to start. Oh, let me bring up the shimmer before I get started and forget to do that. Okay. Well, happy holidays, everybody, to those who are still celebrating it. I try not to be, for those who actually still celebrate some of the holidays that we grew up celebrating, I kind of pulled myself away from, how can I word this? From turning people away just by some things that they still celebrate, although I don't celebrate it anymore. I try to still be a light on those days. Not try, I am, but I try not to turn people away because I was once there and I completely understand. I was once there, So as I've grown, did I spell it right? I always spell Deuteronomy wrong. As I've grown, I try not to be a butthole, right? For lack of a better words, because I know that's how we grew up, and that's how a lot of people came to know Yah, even though they know him by a different name. Yah, greetings. So I try to keep that in mind because I know that there are a lot of people that I still know and love. They still celebrate these holidays, and that's okay because I grew up celebrating and I love the family time, but I try to stay away from saying, like, although I understand it's a pagan holiday, I try not to throw that in their face because I know there's some that really love. Oh, you want to be in a video? That really love Yah. Hold on now. You got to respond. I'll bring you on for a second too. Hey, Reggie. I'll bring you on for a quick second. So I try not to do that because I know some people, they still have a long ways to go on learning. And so I just try not to be a butthole, So because we're still required, especially if people are in need, it don't matter really what day it is. No, don't bring me on. Okay, you must have hit it by mistake because you know me, I'm ready to bring. If anybody want to come on, I'll bring you on. You must have hit the button by mistake. So we're to be a light to people at all times, So we're the ones with the light, So even it doesn't matter what they celebrate. I'm not saying that I'm gonna go seek out Satan worshipers or nothing like that, but you know what I'm saying. People, they live in different types of lifestyles, and if they truly show that they're really searching for Yah, and like they're not coming to you like being like condescending or trying to trip you up, but they really truly want to know something about Yah, then I'm always obliged to share with them, because you can tell people who are just trying to fill you out most of the time, or people who just want to probably try and make a fool of you. I can pick up that stuff really quick, So now I just won't give into it, So on these holidays, like I said, I know it's still a lot of people, and people ask me questions, and I'll, if somebody say Merry Christmas to me, I'll say it back, just out of common courtesy. Not that I celebrate it, but I'm not going to be the first one that offers that, but I will speak back, So just being a decent human being, that's the way I look at it, So. But on these days, and it's actually a couple people that doesn't actually comment on the videos on YouTube that are send me private messages, and they have some concern about this because they're transitioning and they're learning the ways of Yah, and they said like Christmas time is a really big family time for them, and all their family gets together, and they said they really didn't know what to do or how they should act. I said, sis, be normal. I said, if you enjoy celebrating that time with your family, enjoy celebrating that time with your family. Good morning, Corey. Good morning. I thought I had to. I thought I had to join in order to respond, just to let you know I was watching. You jamming, sis, don't put me on the video. Oh, yeah, I'll have to bring you on. You can just comment right there in the comment section. Unless y'all want to come on, I'll bring y'all on for a quick second, if it's not doing the reading, but before or after, whatever, we'll do it real quick, just to say hi, But yeah, so that's all I wanted to say, So still be a light, even though we are celebrating and keeping Yahuwah's feast days. There's still a lot of people who truly love Yah, who truly love him. They just, they haven't started transitioning into actually kind of keeping his laws yet, because they were raised that way. But you can clearly tell if Yah knows them simply by some of the things that he does for them. And it's like, that had to be nobody but Yah to do that, so I'm mindful of those things. So over my last few years of growing, I tried not to be a butt white, towards people, because I don't want to turn somebody away, somebody who I can truly really be a light to down the road sometime, because people are watching you regardless, So I try to be mindful of my words. Sometimes I slip up, I may say something, but charge it to my head and not my heart, as the church folk would say. Charge it to the head and not my heart. I probably just did it ignorantly because I've been doing it for such a long time, So I know sometimes people pop in here on my video, but like, this girl is straight off the street. Is her name Keisha? Because sometimes, I sound like that. I'm trying to get better with my speaking and properly presenting myself to people, So guys, it's all in love. It's all in love. If today is celebrated, how come everybody get a gift but him? You know what? I mean, that's right. Everybody, well, let's not get into that, but we're going to go ahead and start the video. But that's a good point. Everybody should give gifts to Yah. To Yah. Yah is the giver of all gifts, My thoughts is, I'll just keep it at that. We should all give praise and honor to the giver of gifts. So with that being said, beautiful people, not all of us are on the same speed, but once someone starts hearing the truth, they'll need to repent and get in order to discern the me, because we can't say nor do child ways forever. You're absolutely right. We absolutely must grow up. We absolutely must grow up out of Yah. I'm 100% with you on that. When you were a child, you do childish things, but as you begin to grow, you put away childish things, So, but I know there is although it's not a lot of people with us live in the morning, it's a lot of people that come and watch it after the fact on Facebook and on YouTube. It's about a good handful, about at least 40 people daily that watch it, and I know they are at different levels. So I try to be mindful of that. If I say something that I've studied deeply that most people may not have studied, I try to explain it a little bit, because I don't want to lose anybody, so to speak. I want to make sure that everybody's trekking with me, So, but all right, y'all, let's go ahead and get started. Because you know me, I talk and I run my mouth all day. I try not to. I try to stay focused, y'all. Don't be throwing me off, y'all. Don't be throwing me off. No. Okay, we're going to start with the Shema. Hear, therefore, O Israel, all of Yahuwah's people, hear and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahuwah, the God of thy fathers, has promised you, in the land that floweth with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, that Yahuwah, our God, he is one God. And you shall love Yahuwah thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these shall be the words which I command thee this day, and they shall be in thine heart. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them as a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes. If you ever see Jewish people, where the I forget it. It's called. It starts with a T. It's like I'm gonna say it wrong, Teflon or something like that. That they put right here and they wear it across here. They're actually doing an outward show of it. But what it's talking about is, like, in your thoughts, think on and meditate on Yahuwah's law, so that as they begin to assimilate through your whole being, the actions that you carry out will be righteous. So thou shalt bind them as a sign upon thy hand and thy actions, and they shall be as frontlets between thy eyes and thy thoughts. And thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house and thy gates. And then you shall also teach your household in the ways of Yah, and show them how to carry it out. Remember, because they do what they see, bend them in the ways of Yah. And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yahuwah our God for our good always, that he might preserve us alive as it is this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Yahuwah our God, as he has commanded us. All right, beautiful people. So let's go ahead and get started. Hey, everybody. Merry Christmas, Mom. Jolie. All right, y'all. So we are starting today in Enoch chapter 74. Let me put this right here. And we're going to pick this back up as it talks about the cycle of the moon and its laws. All right, y'all. So like I said yesterday, this is one of the sections in the Book of Enoch where it's talking. They call this the luminary section, 72 through 82. Where I learned a lot about the rotation of the sun and the moon and the stars and stuff like that, right? So if you actually go out here, you pay attention to this, and you actually go outside and observe it, you will actually begin to see it moving in these through their gates and stuff. You can't see the gates, but you will see it moving. And even with the moon, as we're going to read today, it won't always rise. At the beginning of the month, she rises with the sun, but as she gains more light, she begins to rise later and later. But you will also see that some mornings you'll watch to go see her rise, and she won't rise in the same place. It's because she's rising in a different gate, or she's setting in a different gate. When you're out, even during the day, you will begin seeing the moon, but you'll catch her in different places. So I think I found, grew up. One day I was out there looking for, I was like, wait a minute, she ain't in none of she hiding places. That's like an inside joke. I know that's poor English, but I was out there looking, and that's when I realized, I was like, wait a minute, hold on, what's going on? Ain't no cloud. It's not cloudy today. Where is the moon? So I actually got in my car and I went driving around the neighborhood, and I spotted her in a different place. I was like, oh, wait, did she enter into a different gate today? I was like, wait a minute. Oh, snap. Enoch is really right. So that's when I began to really pay attention to where she rises now and where she sets, because that tells me there's a gate there or a window there, so. But if you guys paying attention, you will see questions. So get ready. Okay, Tiffany. All right, y'all. So Enoch chapter 74. Then I saw another progress and regulation which he effected in the law of the moon, the progress of the moons and everything. Uriel showed me the holy angel who conducted them all. Their stations I wrote down as he showed them to me. I wrote down their months as they occurred and the appearance of their light until it is completed in 15 days. Remember, the moon, she is completely full, the 15th day of the month. Whenever you see a full moon, I know some days around the 13th and the 14th and the 16th and the 17th day, she still looks pretty full. But if you look closely, you can see there's a portion of her disc that's not quite full of light. But when she's completely full all the way around, and if you look closely, especially on a really clear night, when she's not full, you can see the rest of the disc of the moon. You literally can see the whole moon. Even if she's half of light, you should be able to see this half. It's like really transparent, but it's empty. You will see it. And especially if she's close to the sun and she's like a little sliver, if you pay attention, you can see the full moon, but just a small portion of light where she's filled. It's really cool if y'all ever pay attention and y'all want to start tracking. I'm telling you. Just go pay attention. Even my kids now, they be like, oh, look, they're gonna see the whole face of the moon. Look. It's not light over there, but seriously, kids tracking too. So it's pretty fun, especially if we got kids. All right. So the full moon is the 15th day of the month, according to how Yahuwah calculates time. So anytime there's a full moon, it's the 15th day of that current month. And right now we are in the 10th month. I know on the Gregorian calendar, we're in the 12th month. But according to Yahuwah's way of counting time and reckoning time, we're in the 10th month. Okay. In each of its 7 portions, it completes all its light at the rising and at setting. On stated months, it changes settings, and on stated months, it makes its progress on each. In 2, the moon sets with the sun, in those 2 gates which are in the midst, in the 3rd and 4th gate. It goes forth for 7 days and makes its circuit. Again, it returns to the gate whence the sun goes forth, and in that completes the whole of its light. Then it declines from the sun and enters in 8 days into the 6th gate from which the sun goes forth. When the sun proceeds to the 4th gate, it goes forth for 7 days until it passes from the 5th. Again, it returns in 7 days to the 4th gate, and completing all its light, declines and passes on by the 1st gate in 8 days, and returns in 7 days to the 4th gate from which the sun goes forth. Thus I beheld their stations, as according to the fixed order of the month, the sun rises and sets. At those times, there is an excess of 30 days belonging to the sun in 5 years, and all the days belonging to each year of the 5 years, when completed, amount to 364 days, and the sun and the stars belong 6 days, 6 days in each of the 5 years, 30 days belonging to them, so that the moon has 30 days less than the sun and the stars. The moon brings on all the years exactly, that their stations may come neither too forwards nor too backwards a single day, but that the years may be changed with correct precision in 364 days. We'll finish reading this and I'll explain a little bit of what I understand. In 3 years, the days are 1,092. In 5 years, they are 1,820. And in 8 years, 2,912 days. To the moon alone belong in 3 years 1,062 days. In 5 years, it has 50 days less, for an addition being made to the 62 days. In 5 years, there are 1,770 days, and the days of the moon in 8 years are 2,832 days. For its days in 8 years are less 80 days, which 80 days are its diminution in 8 years. The year then becomes truly complete according to the station of the moon and the station of the sun, which rises in the gates, which rise and set in them for 30 days. Okay, now, I know y'all probably like, what did you just say? I get that. Because I had to read through this chapter probably at least, and this is an exaggeration, at least 100 times before it started clicking. Okay, so what happens is, okay, now, you know how there are different groups of people, different religions, they'll calculate time based on the moon alone. And some will do it based on the sun alone, just like the solar calendar. Some will use the lunar calendar. But Yahuwah teaches us to calculate time on a solar lunar calendar. We have to use the sun and the moon, right? The sun counts the days, the moon is the nights and the months, right? To get a proper count, which is why it names out all these years. They're saying 8 years, these are the days of the sun and these are the days of the moon. Because remember, the days that count, okay, listen to what I'm saying. All the days count for the moon, but okay, you know how we rest on the Sabbath day here, and we only count the days that we are here. We don't include the count of the days that we rest, right? But the days are still counted because they apply, because we're told to rest on those days. It's the same thing with the moon, right? So we count the days that are light as we're counting the days, which is why the moon has like a count of like 28 and a half to 29 and a half days, just depending on what you're looking at. But it tells us here it's like 29 days, but her count is 30 days, but we know some months they're like 30 days and 31 days. It gets kind of confusing, but you got to be following and actually tracking it for it to make sense, you know, and I hope it's not confusing. So the count of the moon is actually counting the days that you can actually see the moon, or the days that's full of light. And it's not in that count is not counting the days of the new moon, which is completely dark. Those are the days that aren't counted, which is why it gets behind in its count from the sun. The sun's days are exactly 364 because it's counted every single day. But we can't see the moon every single day, especially when she's new, when she's diminished of all her light. Although she's there, and it still rises and it still sets. Although you can't see it, we don't count those days because we can't see them. They're still counted in the total scheme of counting of the days, but that's why the count is behind for the moon and the sun. The sun always has more counted light days than the moon. I hope I explained that in a way. You see what I'm saying? So we count the days as actual light, and that's what it's calculating here. Y'all get what I'm saying? I hope that made sense, y'all. Okay. So for the moon, we count the actual light days just like we count the actual light days for the sun. But the days of light are less than the sun because it goes through that diminishing and filling up period, right? So for the moon, we only count the days where it actually has light. So there's a period, and also, you know how some months are longer than other months. It's the same day, because also if you track it, sometimes the moon will be dark when she's new. Will be without, not be without the moon, but we won't be able to see her for about 2 days. And that's how they get the count for like the 30 and the 31 days, right? Because sometimes the moon's transition period is she's 2 days completely dark, and some months she's 1 day completely dark. Then we start seeing a bit of light. So I hope that made sense, y'all. So, and those are called like the transition, the days that the moon is completely dark. Those are the transition days. So I hope I didn't screw y'all up. All right. I get it. I know some people who haven't been following may not get it. They probably still like, I still don't know what you're talking about. Keep reading, Pam. Okay. So Enoch chapter 75. Y'all have any questions? Just type them in. If y'all just gonna be like, you know what, just keep going, Pam. We'll get it sooner or later. Okay. Enoch chapter 75. These are the leaders of the chiefs of thousands, which are over all creation and over all the stars, with the 4 which are added and never separate. Hold on. These are the leaders of the chiefs of the thousands, which are over all creation and over all the stars, with the 4 which are added and never separated from the place allotted them, according to the complete calculation of the year. And these serve 4 days, which are not calculated in the calculation of the year, kind of like what I was just explaining. It's just counting the light days. These are the transition days, like, and it's talking about when the seasons change. Those days are not counted. It's like the head of the year. The head of the season. These serve 4 days, which are not calculated in the calculation of the year. Respecting them, men greatly err. They are greatly in error because when you don't follow this, that's how the count get off. And even those that are trying to turn back, if they don't realize this, their count is going to be off. And it says, because of this, these 4 days, men greatly err, or are greatly in error because of these 4 days to throw them off. Respecting them, men greatly err, for these luminaries truly serve in the dwelling place of the world. 1 day in the first gate, 1 in the third gate, 1 in the fourth gate, and 1 in the sixth gate. And the harmony of the world becomes complete every 364th state of it. For the signs, the seasons, the years, and the days, Uriel showed me, the angel whom Yahuwah of glory appointed over all the luminaries of heaven and in the world, that they might rule in the face of the sky, and appearing over the earth, become conductors of the days and nights, the sun, the moon, the stars, and all the ministers of heaven, which make their circuit with all the chariots of heaven. Thus Uriel showed me 12 gates open for the circuit of the chariots of the sun in heaven, from which the rays of the sun shoot forth. From these proceed heat over the earth when they are open in their stated seasons. They are for the winds and for the spirit of the dew, when in their seasons they are opened in heaven at extremities. 12 gates I beheld in heaven at the extremities of the earth, through which the sun, moon, and stars, and all the works of heaven proceeded at their rising and setting. Many windows are also open on the right and on the left. One window at a season grows extremely hot, so also there are gates from which the stars go forth as they are commanded, and which they are set according to their number. I saw likewise the chariots of heaven running in the world above those gates, in which the stars turn, which never set. One of these is greater than all, which goes around the whole world. All right, y'all. Last chapter for the day in chapter 76 of Enoch. And at the extremities of the earth, I beheld 12 gates open for all the winds from which they proceed and blow over the earth. Three of them are open in the front of heaven, three in the west, three on the right side of heaven, and three on the left. The first three are those which are towards the east, three are towards the north, three behind those which are upon the left, towards the south, and three on the west. From four of them proceed winds of blessing and of health, and from eight proceeds winds of punishment, when they are sent to destroy the earth, and the wind and the heaven above it, all its inhabitants, and all which are in the waters or on dry land. The first of these winds proceed from the gate turn. Hold on. Oh, okay. The first of these winds proceed from the gate termed the eastern, through the first gate on the east, which inclines southwards. From this goes forth destruction, drought, heat, and perdition. From the second gate, the middle one, proceeds equity. There issue from it rain, fruitfulness, health, and dew. And from the third gate, northwards, proceed cold and drought. So it's saying all these different gates are releasing the different types of weather and stuff and things that we see on the earth. Dana said, so on the new moon, you shouldn't be counting it as a day. If it's day 214, the day before the new moon, on the new moon, it stays 214 for 48 to 72 hours. Then when you see the sliver, you start back counting day 15. In a nutshell, Dana, that's right. That's how I understand it. So, okay, so when we have new moon, let's just look at how we start counting the months over, right? Okay, so every time we have a new moon, that's how you start the 7-day weekly count again. So even if you read, you will see it. You will see it all through scripture, but people don't pay attention to it. And it wasn't until I actually started tracking it till it started popping out everywhere. Even when King David, remember he was running from Saul, they had the new moon day feast and stuff. New moon is literally new moon day. So if it's the new moon, if we're starting a new month, which starts at the new moon, it's new moon day, then it's day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the seventh day ends on the same day that we had a new moon. So if the new moon was on a Tuesday, the Sabbath should also end. I mean, the Sabbath should come in that next Tuesday. That's how the Sabbaths line up with the new moon. So whatever day the new moon falls on for that monthly cycle, that's when the Sabbath will come in. So like this Sabbath, this monthly cycle, the new moon literally came in Tuesday, the first sliver. So boom, new moon day celebration. They actually had feasts, and the new moon is not a Sabbath, but in a lot of places I see it being treated as a Sabbath. That's why I really hadn't said anything, because I don't, but it's treated as a Sabbath. It's literally a feast day. Even Yahuwah calls it out when they was doing the shenanigans. He said, look, I'm sick of your Sabbath. I'm sick of your new moon feast, all your feast days. He said, stop it all, because y'all not even keeping it in your heart. He said, you're outwardly keeping my commands, but inwardly you're just as filthy comes. Filthy as filth comes. Y'all get what I'm saying? But it's a celebration day, so it's, to me, it's a Sabbath day. I try to rest as much as possible, although it is not commanded that we rest on a new moon day. I see it being treated as a Sabbath, in a lot of places in scripture, so, but that's right. So new moon day is not counted in the count, right? Just like when we count the days here, I stopped counting on the Sabbath day. Like if today is day 702 and tomorrow is a Sabbath, I won't count that in the count. But when we come back Sunday, it'll be day 703. So yeah, you explained that in the right way, as far as I understand it, So, but yeah, you're right, Dana. Thank you for that question. All right. Greetings, Uncle Nathaniel. Okay. From the second gate, the middle one proceeds equity. There issue from it rain, fruitfulness, health, and dew. And from the third gate, northwards proceed cold and drought. After these proceed the south winds through 3 principal gates. Through their first gate, which inclines eastwards, proceed a hot wind, but from the middle gate proceed grateful odor, dew, rain, health, and life. From the third gate, which is westward, proceed dew, rain, blight, and destruction. After these are the winds to the north, which is called the sea. From three gates, the seventh gate is on the east, inclining southwards. From this proceeds dew, rain, blight, and destruction. From the middle, direct gate proceed rain, dew, life, and health. And from the third gate, which is westward, inclining toward the south, proceed mist, frost, snow, rain, dew, and blight. After these four are the winds to the west. From the first gate, inclining northwards, proceed dew, rain, frost, cold, snow, and chill. From the middle gate proceed rain, health, and blessing. And from the last gate, which is southwards, proceed drought, destruction, scorching, and perdition. The account of the 12 gates of the four quarters of heaven is ended. All their laws, all their punishment, and the health of them have I explained to you, my son Methuselah. All right, y'all, that's our reading for today in Enoch. That was Enoch 74 through 76. So we're going to go ahead and jump on over here and fill in the rest of this portion about Noah, which is really, really good. Okay. And it starts on page, I think it's 57, y'all. Yep, page 57, volume 1, page 57. Okay, y'all. Legends of the Jews. Remember, for those that don't know, Legends of the Jews. I always post a link where you can get it, read it, or listen to it online in the description once I get it updated after the reading. And this actually fills in the portions. This is actually scripture. This actually comes from manuscript and the text and stuff. It just fills in all the things that were not added to the canonized books of the Bible, and you'll realize that it all fits in perfectly, like perfect puzzle pieces. So yeah, and a lot of things that were removed out, but some things were strategically left in to let you know that there were some supernatural things that was happening back in these days. So a lot of time people question some things. It's like, I don't know about all that. I'm like, but you see, he was teleporting right there. What about that? That's supernatural. What about that? They live in a few supernatural things, but they take out the majority of all of them. So when you fill it in with some of the portions of the manuscripts, it all begins to make sense. All right, so page 57, the depravity of mankind. With the spread of mankind, corruption increased. While Noah was still alive, the descendants of Shem, Ham, and Japheth appointed princes over each of the three groups: Nimrod for the descendants of Ham, Joktan for the descendants of Shem, and Phinehas for the descendants of Japheth. 10 years before Noah's death, the number of those subject to the three princes amounted to millions. When this great concourse of men came to Babylonia upon their journeyings, they said to one another, "Behold, the time is coming when, at the end of days, neighbor will be separated from neighbor, and brother from brother, and one will carry on war against the other. Go to, let us build a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a great name upon the earth. And now let us make bricks, and each one write his name upon his brick." All agreed to this proposal with the exception of 12 pious men, Abraham among them. They refused to join the others. They were seized by the people and brought before the three princes, to whom they gave the following reason for their refusal: "We will not make bricks, nor remain with you, for we know but one God, and him we serve. Even if you burn us in the fire together with the bricks, we will not walk in your ways." Who that sound like? That sound like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? Because this fiery furnace thing happened a few times, and only one of them was left in the canonized book that's available to the world. So listen. But what's crazy is everybody, and all this stuff is here in the United States now that we're coming upon it, but all the other nations knew about this stuff, and like we were like completely in the dark. So when people mention things on this, like what are you talking about? that's not in the Bible, is because the manuscripts that they had a lot more information, and it wasn't toyed with like the ones over here. Like they toyed with stuff and they subtracted stuff. You take this portion, this is all you need. Which get people all screwed up in the mind. They start fighting amongst each other. That's not true. They don't say this, and we're the ones that's completely ignorant and we're lacking information, and they have manuscripts that are way, way more full than what we have. But what we have, it's enough to save your soul, like I always said. And as you go and you study it, Yahuwah will lead you and guide you into all truth, and he'll reveal more truth and make it available to you. So I thank y'all for that. Okay. We will not make bricks, nor remain with you, for we know but one God, and him we serve. Even if you burn us in the fire together with the bricks, we will not walk in your ways. Nimrod and Phoenix flew into such a passion over the 12 men that they resolved to throw them into the fire. Joktan, however, besides being a God-fearing man, was of close kin to the men on trial, and he is saved to save them. You absolutely right, Aliyah. That is why Muslims know more than Christians. And what's crazy is, as I began to look at some of this stuff, I'm like, oh, shoot. The Muslims had that part right. But you can't really tell Christians that, especially ones who are really steeped in religion, and some of the stuff that you're taught, it's like we don't want to hear anything else. We stuff our ears, and what we got is the truth, and that's all we need right here. But they actually have more of the manuscript. And you remember, they're our cousins. And not all of them, but you get what I'm saying. They have more of the manuscript, and they actually pronounce the names of God in the correct form. But when we hear it over here, it's like, oh, blasphemy, you're worshiping Allah. And I'm like, gee, do y'all realize that Allah is just a general term for God? They could say the same thing about us when we say the word God, and they say Allah, but we both saying the same thing. We're saying God. They just saying it in their tongue, So, but that's a whole nother conversation. Okay. He proposed to his two colleagues to grant them a 7 days respite. His plan was accepted, such difference being paid to him as the primate among the three. The 12 were incarcerated in the house of Joktan. In the night, he charged 50 of his attendants to mount the prisoners upon mules and to take them to the mountains. Thus, they would escape the threatened punishment. Joktan provided for them food for a month. He was sure that in the meantime, either a change of sentiment would come about and the people desist from their purpose, or Yahuwah would help the fugitives. Facts, Malcolm X too. Christians see him as a bad guy compared to Martin Luther King. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Dan. That's what I'm saying. All this stuff, I'm just like, I was flabbergasted as I began to realize some of this stuff, So I would say Christians are really sheltered. I say that because I used to be there, and it's like, nope, don't listen to nothing else. This is all you need right here. Don't pay attention to none of that stuff, because if we actually stepped out of ranks and we started paying attention to some of that stuff, some of the stuff that they was teaching us over here would be questionable. But like, wait a minute, but what they're saying, it lines up with this, and wait a minute, my spirit felt truth when I heard that. So you just learn how to decipher truth from error. So you're right. They do look at him as a bad guy, but he wasn't. He really wasn't. But you can't really have those type of conversations with everybody. You really can't. Abraham alone rejected it, saying, behold, today we flee to the mountains to escape from the fire. But if wild beasts rush out from the mountains and devour us, or if food is lacking so that we die by famine, we shall be found fleeing before the people of the land and dying in our own sins. So everybody was going except for Abraham. He said, no, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to trust y'all. Now, as Yahuwah liveth, in whom I trust, I will not depart from this place wherein they have imprisoned me. And if I am to die through my sins, then I will die by the will of Yahuwah according to his desire. In vain, Joktan endeavored to persuade Abraham to flee. He persisted in his refusal. He remained behind alone in the prison house while the other 11 made their escape. At the expiration of the set term, when the people returned and demanded the death of the 12 captives, Joktan could only produce Abraham. His excuse was that the rest had broken loose during the night. The people were about to throw themselves upon Abraham and cast him into the lime kiln Suddenly an earthquake was felt. The fire darted out from the furnace, and all who were standing round about, 84,000 of the people, were consumed, while Abraham remained untouched. Thereupon he repaired to his 11 friends in the mountains and told them of the miracle that had befallen for his sake. They all returned with him and unmolested by the people, and they gave praise and thanks to Yahuwah. That was the great deception, Dana. Okay, y'all, we're about to go into this section about Nimrod. The first among the leaders of the corrupt men was Nimrod. His father Cush had married his mother at an advanced age, and Nimrod, the offspring of his belated union, was particularly dear to him as the son of his old age. He gave him the clothes made of skins which Yahuwah had furnished Adam and Eve at the time of their leaving paradise. Cush himself had gained possession of them through Ham. Remember, we talked about this. Remember Jacob and Esau and what Esau had did to Nimrod. This clothing right here that Nimrod had, that it was passed down from his father, which was stolen. It was stolen from Noah when they left the ark. It was supposed to have been passed down to the sons of Shem, but Ham stole it upon leaving, and Noah didn't realize it. And they hid it for a while, and they gave it to Nimrod. And that was why Nimrod was called the mightiest hunter in his land, because this clothing that Yahuwah himself had made and had given to Adam was still full of power. So that's where Nimrod got all his power from. And for a period of time, Yahuwah allowed it. Listen, it's so much stuff, man. Okay, let me just keep reading. I'll read this last sentence again. Cush himself had gained possession of them through Ham. From Adam and Eve, they had descended to Enoch, and from him to Methuselah and to Noah, and the last had taken them into the ark. When the inmates of the ark were about to leave their refuge, Ham stole the garments and kept them concealed, finally passing them on to his firstborn son Cush. Cush in turn hid them for many years. When his son Nimrod reached his 20th year, he gave them to him. These garments had a wonderful property. He who wore them was both invincible and irresistible. The beasts and the birds of the woods fell down before Nimrod as soon as they had caught sight of him arrayed in them, and he was equally victorious in his combats with men. The source of his unconquerable strength was not known to them. They attributed it to his personal prowess, and they therefore appointed him king over themselves. This was done after a conflict between the descendants of Cush and the descendants of Japheth, from which Nimrod emerged triumphant, having routed the enemy utterly with the assistance of a handful of warriors. He chose Shinar as his capital. Thence he extended his dominion farther and farther until he rose by cunning and force to be the sole ruler of the whole world, the first mortal to hold universal sway, as the ninth ruler to possess the same power. Thence he extended his dominion farther and farther until he rose by cunning and force to be the sole ruler of the whole world, the first mortal to hold universal sway, as the ninth ruler to possess the same power will be the Messiah. His impiousness kept peace with his growing power. Since the flood, there had been no such sinner as Nimrod. He fashioned idols of wood and stone and paid worship to them, but not satisfied to lead a godless life himself. He did all he could to tempt his subjects into evil ways, wherein he was aided and abetted by his son Mardon. This son of his outstripped his father in iniquity. It was their time and their life that gave rise to the proverb, out of the wicked come forth wickedness. The great success that attended all of Nimrod's undertakings produced a sinister effect. Men no longer trusted in Yahuwah, but rather in their own prowess and ability and attitude, which Nimrod tried to convert the whole world. Therefore, people said, since the creation of the world, there has been none like Nimrod, a mighty hunter of men and beasts, and a sinner before Yahuwah. And not all of this sufficed unto Nimrod's evil desire. Not enough that he turned men away from Yahuwah. He did all he could to make them pay divine honors unto himself. He set himself up as a god and made a seat for himself in imitation of the seat of Yahuwah. It was a tower built out of a round rock, and on it he placed a throne of cedar wood, upon which arose one above the other 4 thrones of iron, copper, silver, and gold. Crowning all, upon the golden throne lay a precious stone, round in shape and gigantic in size. This served him as a seat, and as he sat upon it, all nations came and paid him divine homage. Okay, now we're going to go in and read the section about the Tower of Babel, the tops on the top of the stick the Most High used to create creation as well. I read your comment too late. I ain't tracking with you, Aliyah. I know you responded to something I said, but it's not clicking right now. The iniquity and godlessness of Nimrod reached their climax in the building of the Tower of Babel. His counselors had proposed the plan of erecting such a tower. Nimrod had agreed to it, and it was executed in Shinar by a mob of 600,000 men. The enterprise was neither more nor less than rebellion against Yahuwah, and there were 3 sorts of rebels among the builders. The first party spoke, "Let us ascend into the heavens and wage warfare with him." The second party spoke, "Let us ascend into the heavens, set up our idols, and pay worship unto them there." And the third party spoke, "Let us ascend into the heavens and ruin them with our bows and spears." I'm like, y'all really think y'all about to do this, don't y'all? Many, many years were passed in the building of the tower. It reached so great a height that it took a year to mount the top. A brick was therefore more precious in the sight of the builders than a human being. If a man fell down and met his death, none took notice of it. But if a brick dropped, they wept because it would take a year to replace it. So intent were they upon accomplishing their purpose that they would not permit a woman to interrupt herself in the work of brick making when the hour of travail came upon her. Molding bricks, she gave birth to her child, and tying it around her body in a sheet, she went on molding bricks. They never slackened in their work, and from their dizzy height, they constantly shot arrows toward heaven, which returning were seen to be covered with blood. They were thus fortified in their delusions, and they cried, "We have slain all who are in heaven." Thereupon Yahuwah returned to the 70 angels who encompassed his throne, and he spake, "Go to, let us go down there and confound their language, that they may not be able to understand one another's speech." It would have been really helpful if we would have had this first portion in here before when we start reading about the Tower of Babel in Genesis, right? Listen to this. "We have slain all who are in heaven." Thereupon Yahuwah turned to the 70 angels who encompass his throne, and he spake, "Go to, let us go down and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech." Thus it happened. Thenceforth, no one knew what the other spoke. One would ask for the mortar, and the other handed him a brick. In a rage, he would throw the brick at his partner and kill him. Many perished in this manner, and the rest were punished according to the nature of their rebellious conduct. Those who had spoken, "Let us ascend into the heavens, set up our idols, and pay worship unto them there," Yahuwah transformed into apes and phantoms. Those who had proposed to assault the heavens with their arms, Yahuwah set against each other so that they fell into combat. And those who had resolved to carry on a combat with Yahuwah in heaven were scattered broadcast over the earth. Like, why are y'all playing with him? Like, y'all are playing with the creator of heaven and earth. So he had a little bit of fun with y'all. That's right. He was messing with them for real, for real. As for the unfinished tower, a part sank into the earth, and another part was consumed by fire. Only 1/3 of it remained standing. The place of the tower has never lost its peculiar quality. Whoever passes it forgets all he knows. The punishment inflicted upon the sinful generation of the tower is comparatively lenient. On the account of rapine, the generation of the flood were utterly destroyed, while the generation of the tower were preserved in spite of their blasphemies and all their other acts offensive to Yahuwah. Good morning, son. The reason is that Yahuwah sets a high value upon peace and harmony. Therefore, the generation of the deluge, who gave themselves up to deprivation and bore hatred to one another, were extirpated, root and branch, while the generation of the Tower of Babel, dwelling amicably together and loving one another, were spared alive, at least a remnant of them. Besides the chastisement of sin and sinners, the confounding of speech, another notable circumstance was connected with the descent of Yahuwah upon the earth. Only 10 such descents to occur between the creation of the world and the day of judgment. It was on this occasion that Yahuwah and the 70 angels that surrounded his throne cast lots concerning the various nations. Listen to this, pay attention to this, y'all. Each angel received a nation, and Israel fell to the lot of Yahuwah. Remember how we talk about and how it always says that Yahuwah is our mighty one for the nation of Israel, and Michael is the archangel who stands and fights for us. Yahuwah and Michael, right? And along with Gabriel and a couple of other ones or whatever. But all the different other nations, they also have angels who are set over them. So if you kind of hear some of this stuff, it may not make sense, especially when we're coming out of the Christian world and it seems like all a bunch of hocus pocus and witchcraft and stuff. But it begins to make sense once you begin to understand this, right? Okay, and each nation, let me just read, just listen, I'm gonna read. It was on, let me go back up here. Besides the chastisement of sin and sinners by the confounding of speech, another notable circumstance was connected with the descent of Yahuwah upon the earth. One of only 10 such descents to occur between the creation of the world and the day of judgment, which we have not yet gotten to the day of judgment, y'all. It was on this occasion that Yahuwah and the 70 angels that surrounded his throne cast lots concerning the various nations. Remember, they were originally 70 nations, and there's still 70 nations, but it's a lot of sub-nations now all over the world under the 70. But those 70 nations still remain the same, and depending on what subset, you will fall under one of them 70 nations. Okay. Each angel received a nation, and Israel fell to the lot of Yahuwah. To every nation a peculiar language was assigned, Hebrew being reserved for Israel, the language made use of by Yahuwah at the creation of the world. We're gonna stop right there because this now it goes into Abraham, so we're gonna pick that back up. Man, it's gonna take me 2 minutes. Let me go ahead. I'm gonna start here. Okay, this is starting chapter 5 now. Abraham. Okay, 10 generations were there from Noah to Abraham to show how great is the clemency of Yahuwah for all the generations who provoked his wrath, until Abraham, our father, came and received the reward of all of them. For the sake of Abraham, Yahuwah had showed himself long-suffering and patient during the lives of these 10 generations. Yea, more, the world itself had been created for the sake of his merits. His advent had been made manifest to his ancestor Ru, who uttered the following prophecy at the birth of his son Saru. From this child he shall be born in the 4th generation, that shall set his dwelling over the highest, and he shall be called perfect and spotless, and shall be the father of nations, and his covenant shall not be dissolved, and his seed shall be multiplied forever. It was indeed high time that the friend of God should make his appearance upon the earth. The descendants of Noah were sinking into depravity to lower and lower depths of depravity. There they were beginning to quarrel and slay, eat blood, build fortified cities and walls and towers, and set one man over a whole nation as a king, and wage wars, people against people, and nations against nations, and cities against cities, and do all manner of evil, and acquire weapons, and teach warfare unto their children. And they began also to take captives and to sell them as slaves. And they made unto themselves molten images which they worship, each one the idol he had molten for himself. For the evil spirits under their leader Mastema led them astray into sin and uncleanliness. For this reason, Ru called his son Sarug, because all mankind had turned aside unto sin and transgression. When he grew to manhood, the name was seen to have been chosen fittingly, for he too worshipped idols. And when he himself had a son, Nahor by name, he taught him the arts of the Chaldees and how to be a soothsayer and practice magic according to the signs in the heavens. When in time a son was born to Nahor, Mastema sent ravens and other birds to despoil the earth and rob men of the proceeds of their work. As soon as they had dropped the seed in the furrows, and before they could cover it with earth, the birds picked it up from the surface of the ground, and Nahor called his son Terah, because the ravens and the other birds plagued men and devoured their seed and reduced them to destitution. And we are going to pick up the rest of this, beginning with the birth of Abraham, starting tomorrow. And so for the rest of the time that we're reading Enoch, I believe we'll probably be reading what Abraham did, which I think is good. Actually, we may finish before we finish Enoch. But since we've already gotten through all of Genesis, like I said yesterday, I think it's good that we fill in some of the stuff that line up with Genesis before we get into Exodus. Because when we get to Exodus, we have to move to that section so I can begin filling in the details of what was happening with the plagues and some of the other things that is left out there. And it is so exciting, y'all. So we're going to finish reading all about Abraham while we're finishing up Enoch. And we're almost done with the book of Enoch. We are on 77, starting on 77 tomorrow. And Enoch only has 105 chapters. So we'll be done in about a little over a week. Yeah, a little over a week. And then we're going to go back and start Exodus, y'all. So I hope you all enjoyed the reading for today. It is Friday, December the 25th, 2020, day 33 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. And of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 702. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and go to the blessing. And I already told y'all what we read. We read Enoch 74 through 76 and Legends of the Jews, page 57 through 59. That's volume 1. So the blessing is found, y'all know where. Numbers chapter 6. Remember, the first 21 verses is the Nazarite vow. All right, y'all. The blessing begins at verse 22 all the way to the end of the chapter, verse 27. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his son, saying, On this wise you are to bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. Let me double check and make sure I ain't missed nobody questions. Okay. Yes, we are the lots of the mighty one. All right, y'all. Okay. All right, y'all. That's it. We out of here. I love y'all. See y'all bright and early in the morning. It's Saturday, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Beautiful people. All right. Also, and for some people that may watch the YouTube video later, I went back and I watched a couple of the videos, and I noticed for some reason when it's recording my voice, it tends to chop it up a little bit. I don't know if it does that while it's live. Nobody's ever mentioned anything, but I know watching the recorded version of it, sometimes it kind of skips a second or something. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure if it's because I'm moving, like you hear my bracelet and it kind of chops up the sound a little bit and it's recording. And I wonder if that's why a lot of people started using microphones. So I ordered me a little microphone so it won't sound so choppy. It's clear, but it sounds choppy to me, and it kind of sounds staticky sometimes. And I don't want that to happen, because if I was listening to somebody's video, it might piss me off, and I might not even listen to the whole thing. So I ordered a microphone, and it'll be here by Monday. So y'all won't see it though. I have it behind here, but hopefully the sound, it'll make it better. It doesn't do that live. Okay. But yeah, if you go back, if any of y'all ever go back and listen to it after it's already been recorded, you will notice how it chops it up a little. It's not really noticeable. It may not even be noticeable to y'all, but it's noticeable to me, and it plucks my nerves. So I'm like, maybe this is why a microphone is good to have to record. You know, I'm recording from a MacBook. I don't have that issue. It never does that with my phone on Facebook, but I don't know. So I ordered a microphone. Hopefully it'll take care of some of that choppiness and that static and stuff, and it'll kind of do like that soundproof thing where it it blocks out all these little sounds like this. And maybe if my dryer is going like yesterday, oh my gosh, I couldn't even watch my own video because I heard my dryer. I'm like, what is that noise in the video? Then I realized, like, oh, that's the dryer. And it was a big belt buckle in there, and you kept hearing it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I would be shocked if anybody watched this whole replay tomorrow, so, but all right, y'all. So that's it. I ain't got nothing else. All right, y'all. Enjoy time with y'all family. I love y'all. And I'll see y'all bright and early in the morning. Another question. Hold on. Have you developed a personal guide that leads from Enoch to the exact passage, chapters, and the legend of the Jews? You know something? No, listen. I'm glad you asked that question. Look, because Aliyahu, you made a comment that I responded to this morning. About writing a book, but no, I haven't, but I have, just by keeping track for my own personal reference. So right here, sorry, this is blueberries at the top. So I keep track of my daily readings, and I got a planner for it, and I get a new one every year. I'm about to end this, so I got a brand new for 2021 waiting. So I actually do, based on as we've gone through and what I write in here. So I do have a personal guide on what we read every day as we went through the Book of Enoch, because I write everything down. Like, I keep notes. So like on this day, you will see we read Enoch chapter, when we started Enoch 1 through 8, and we read Legends of the Jews, pages 44 through 48, Enoch portions, which was the Enoch portions in here. And then we started going after that. So I keep track of everything. So I kind of have indirectly written a guide without thinking about it, just because I like to keep details and be able to track back my progress and find out where I was at on this particular day. So indirectly, yes, Uncle Nathaniel, I actually have created a guide that goes hand in hand with what we've been doing. So yeah, what I think about doing a podcast, I actually have, and I think it's really, I looked into it, I think it's really easy because I'm already recording live, and I think I just need to put the title podcast up there. Really, I don't know, I could have something off a little bit, but I'll check into it more. But I really did, before I started doing it live, I was like, I probably should turn this into a podcast. But as I was looking at some of the podcast things, everybody had like this equipment and stuff. I'm like, I ain't got all that, but it's nothing. I just ordered a microphone, and I don't even know why they use headphones. I think they use headphones maybe if they bring somebody on so they can actually hear people talking without all the extra noise around. Like, I don't know, but I don't know. I probably would. I think it's easy. I probably literally just need to put like podcasts up there, maybe like make it available on iTunes or something. I don't know. Podcasts would require interactive conversations. Oh, yeah. See, so I'm just reading. I'm having interactive conversations with y'all, like with y'all typing back. But yeah, it really could get interesting in these discussions. But see, here's the thing though, right? I would love to do that, but I want to stick to what Yahuwah told me to do, right? Now, I know people got to go to work, so I want to stick to as close as what Yahuwah told me to do and he told me to read. Now, I can interact with y'all here, or if y'all come ask questions later, I don't know. I just really got to think about that because I don't want to get thrown off, because I'm just like, Father, I want to do it like you tell me to do it. I know a lot of things may be good suggestions, and I don't want to move ahead of time and get thrown off, and then I lose track of what Yahuwah told me to do, and then everything is just, and it's like, stop, because you've gotten off. And I don't want to do that. And I've seen so many people do that, But I love discussion. I really do. We can do it afterwards. We got to limit it to a certain time because, people got to go to work unless it's like a holiday or, evening. But also my background, everybody's sleeping in because we let them stay up late last night. So they quiet. So some mornings I can chat. Some mornings they be on 10 before we even get started good, so some days are not really good. So I called you to a purpose, don't let us mess you up. Yeah, I know. So I'm trying to stay focused, and like I pay attention to other people who are doing things, and you can, like, some people, and I don't know, I just don't want to lose track of what I'm supposed to be doing. And reading, I know, is what I'm supposed to be doing, So, but yeah, these conversations we can have, I'll think about that. And maybe on the weekend, since most people will be home, especially with other things. Yeah. So, but yeah, y'all. So yeah, like weekends, we can stay a few extra minutes, and answer some questions or chat about some stuff, So if y'all got questions, still type them in there, because if we get done early, I'll go back and I'll check and make sure, okay, I haven't missed anybody's questions or anything, and I'll answer them. We can chat that way, So, but all right, y'all, that's it. Somebody coming down the stairs now, and I think it's baby girl. Hey, girl. Hey, Mom. Yes, baby girl. All right, y'all. So I'm about to go. Love y'all. See y'all in the morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace. Okay, you do it. Hit that. Hit it. Yay, we gotta stop this one. Look, end stream right here. Look, right here. Okay, we stopped Facebook. Now we gotta stop this one. Here, right here. See it? The arrow right there. End stream. Hit it one more time. Oh no, up here. Right there. All right.